going on, everyone? Sean with Triangle of Truth here, and I am back with a new haul of comics. It's been like a month, so I've got a lot to go through. I'm not going to waste too much of your time by babbling beforehand, so let's jump right into it. So I kind of had these grouped up a little bit. I have my one trade, I have my continuing series, then I have my gambles that were taken for this week, that they just put in my box to see if I'd like. And then I have one that I picked out that you'll see at the end because it's something I've wanted, so it's the very first of this. So you'll see that at the end. So let's jump right into it. The first one is my trade that was put in my box, and that is Old Guard Volume 2. I got Volume 1 right around the time the movie came out on Netflix, which if you have not watched the movie, you need to. No lie. The movie legit could have been a box office hit in my opinion. It was that good. It was that awesome. And from what I understand, the comic series is just as good. I actually have not read it because I got so caught up in so many of the other ongoing series that I have. But I am going to sit down and read both volumes of this because, as I understand, the second movie is in development now, and I believe they for sure confirmed that Charlize Theron is returning. I'm hoping that the whole rest of the cast comes too, because I thought the movie was very well cast, especially as far as who plays the Old Guard. So definitely keep an eye out for updates on that, and let's hope that it's able to come out. Moving along. So now I'm going to get into the first parts of my comics are my ongoing series that I'm a part of. So the first one is the one that you guys have heard me harp on all year ad nauseum, and that is Something is Killing the Children, number 11. All I can say is after reading number 10, I'm excited. Like, they really ramped up the story in number 10. Like, way more than the previous 4. They were doing a really good job of telling stories, slowly giving things out, and then in 10 they really vamped it up as to what, and a lot of gruesome stuff in that one. So if you're keeping up with the series and you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the series so far. If you've read number 11, let me know if it's good or not. Next one is another one from Boom Studios, because that's where Something Killing the Children comes from. This was a number 1 that I'd read last time I got my pull box. That is called You Only Find Them When They're Dead. This is number 2. I thought the opening book was solid. The story, they didn't do the best job, I think, of laying a foundation, but nonetheless, it was still a very intriguing story. The artwork, as I mentioned last time I did the unboxing, because I had actually kind of read it beforehand, the artwork is some of the best that I've seen in a comic. So that really drew me into the book and kept me reading it, despite the story maybe not grabbing me as much. So I'm hoping that, in number 2 that it gets a little more into there, and then I'll get pulled into it. We'll see what happens. My next one is from Dark Horse, and if you guys remember, again, the last video, I was really excited when I got this. This is Orville, Launch Day Part 2 of 2. I'm very excited to read it because I love the TV show, so I have the familiarity of all the characters. So when I read this, I've got every voice in my head, bar none. So I can hear it, I can see the world, I can immerse myself in the world, and I love it. I'm only sad that this is just a 2-parter though, because I really, really would love for this to be a long ongoing series. And I actually haven't researched it much to know if there are other Orville comics, so I'm definitely going to probably try and do that here. If you do know if there are more and there is an ongoing series, let me know in the comments, because I want to pick it up and read it, because I'd want to, anytime you can expand more on a universe, it doesn't always have to be in television, but if you can keep the universe going like they do with Star Trek, Doctor Who, other things like that, I'm all for it, because then it's more for me to read, it's more for me to immerse in. They did the same thing with Gears of War. That's another series where I love the video games. I love the books that tied the first 3 video games together. And then you have all the comics that help tie everything in as well. So, yeah, a little ramble there. Sorry about that. This next one is from Aftershock. The number 1 of this, definitely when I got it, was the most out there pick of them. Just reading it, it was definitely odd, but it's Lonely Receiver number 2. And I'm hoping this book will dive in more to what's going on. Again, the main character just lost this robot that was built for her to love her and whatnot. So, but it's still hard to tell whether the robot was there or if it was something with her phone and everything's in her head. So that was something for me that was hard to keep up with. I'm hoping in issue 2 that I'll be able to figure that out a little more for myself. That way, the more I understand the story, the more I will want to read it. And then this next one is from AWA Upshot. When I read number 1, this was definitely one of my absolute favorite reads from some of the singles and number 1s that I've read of late. And I'm excited. This is only a 4-part series, but I'm genuinely excited. And that's Grendel, Kentucky, number 2. They left on such a cliffhanger at the end of the first one. It was a very kind of, sensible story. 2 kids come back. Their dad was killed in a mysterious way. They're trying to figure out what happened. Very, very last page, you figure out it was some kind of monster he was going after, because all you see is a pair of eyes and a claw. And you can't do that to me. You can't screw with my emotions like that. There's tear. You see that? Yeah. Stuff like that. You just can't do that to me. So I am for sure going to see this series all the way through, no matter what. And I'm hoping that this one is just as good as issue 1. Next one is from Vault Comics. And the more I dive into Vault, the more I realize that Vault's got a lot of good stuff in here. And this ongoing series is no different. This is, of course, Bleed Them Dry. It's a vampire tale. It's a ninja vampire tale. Seeing where they lead to it, because now in the last issue we learned that the main character, who was bitten by her old partner and almost the blood sucked out of her, is now basically part vampire. So I'm waiting to see how the guy that she's with teaches her a little more about what it's like to be what she is and whatnot. As I understand, I don't know if she's full vampire or kind of like a hybrid mix now. So I'm also curious to learn more about that and see where that goes. So if you haven't read this, you definitely should. And if you're a fan of Japanese culture, whether it's futuristic, ancient, current, you'll also like it. This next one is another Image comic. You'll kind of notice Image for me is just kind of the way to go. The number 1 of this was a great read, very good story, whatnot, and that is Stillwater number 2. Kind of curious to see where they pick up in issue number 2 after the main character goes to the town of Stillwater, and you learn that everybody there basically can't die. Best example I can give is in the first video, guy sees a kid running on a building top, and the kid just jumps. Boom, he thinks he's dead, tries to rush him to a doctor. The doctor tries to warn the guy to get out of town, and you just see the kid get up and walk out. And he's basically learned their secret. So, and he came because he thought a relative of his was dying or about to die, and they summoned him. So it comes at the end of it where I believe it's his mother saves him from being executed by the people there. So let's see where this goes, because I have a feeling this is going to be a fun, dark, twisty tale, kind of like a psychological deal. So I'm really curious to see what happens. Alright, so that is the end of my ongoing series. This next batch will be the Gamble picks that were put in my box by mostly Jenna and then some were on recommendations of the other staff there because they all couldn't stop raving about them. This first one is 100% from Jenna. She wanted to get it because she is a huge Walking Dead fan. Actually, they both are huge Walking Dead fans. They have, I believe, the entire original run of comics. Well, they decided to do like a reprint, a deluxe, and now they're in color, whereas the original run was, black and white. So she got me the Walking Dead Deluxe #1, and I'm actually, now that I like zombie and horror stuff a lot more, especially in comics, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like this. I will flat out admit I did not watch a ton of The Walking Dead, but the few episodes I did watch, I liked, and I didn't think it was a terrible show by any means. I can certainly understand its appeal. So maybe in reading this, I'll read more of the series. Maybe go back and watch the TV series while I'm at it, so that I can see what it's all about. Because, like I said, I don't think it's a bad story or a bad show by any means. So maybe that'll open up a whole new thing for me to start watching here. This next one is a character that I've always known about. I watched the original TV show that I know of for this that was back in like the 80s or early 90s when I was a kid. But that is from DC, and that is Legend of Swamp Thing. Looks like a Halloween special. There's 6 different spooky tales in this one, so I'm actually really excited to read it because the more I've learned about Swamp Thing, he was in a lot of the DC animated movies. They featured him, and Swamp Thing's a badass. Like, I knew he was cool. I didn't know how powerful he really was until seeing a lot of the new stuff. So I'm really curious to see, what they do with these stories, and if they're fun, if they're actually a little terrifying like they say they are, but just as long as it's a good story, I am happy to read it. Alright, so this next one is kind of a gamble pick, one that I've seen AWA Upshot advertise up till its release. That is American Ronin #1. Really did not read the plot for this. Actually, I take it back. I did, but it's been so long I forgot it. But, for me, from what I can see, it looks like a gangster mob type deal. Love that kind of stuff. So, definitely going to give it a shot. If it's good, probably put a review up. If you've read it, again, put it in the comments. Let me know. This next one is another Image comic. And I'm flacking to tell you, I have no idea what this is about. This is a new #1. It's called Getting It Together. Yeah. I see Friends on the cover is kind of what I'm thinking here. I don't really know anything about it. Let's just hope it's good. I will say that it's Image, and right now Image, for me, is one of those where they can almost do no wrong. So I bet it's probably going to be pretty good. So, again, with all of these, if you've read some of these, and I sit here and say I don't know anything about them, let me know in the comments what you think of them. The next one is another Dark Horse. And I don't do a lot with Dark Horse for the most part. I don't know why. I've looked through their catalog a few times, and I tried to see things that would grab me, but for a long time they didn't. And now I'm starting to get into, with everybody else. So this was another one because I do follow them on Instagram. When I saw the cover of this, I was like, yeah, that's a badass cover. And if the story is good as the cover, then I'm good to go. This is called Norse Mythology. It's the #1. I'm excited to read it. If it really is based on this stuff, we all know some Norse mythology with Thor from Marvel and whatnot. So if mythology in general is your kind of thing, I think, like it is for me, I think this will be something that I enjoy and that you guys will enjoy as well. This very last one it's not a #1, it's not a beginning of a story, but I grabbed it because I since I got into comics. You know, y'all have heard me talk about how much I love artwork and this and that. And of course, one of the big names in all of comics when you talk about art is Alex Ross. You also have like Jim Lee, Scotty Young. I'm sure that Clayton Crane's another one that I love. Well, I don't have any single issue comics with an Alex Ross cover. So this one for me is a double win because it is my first Alex Ross covered comic. I do have the Marvel's trade paperback, but again, like I said, single issue. So you get these variant covers, which is what this is. So not only is this an Alex Ross cover, this is my favorite hero in comics. So I have an Alex Ross Daredevil. And Alex Ross, Marvel has been releasing these Alex Ross variant covers for a lot. I mean, there's a ton of these variants out this month, and I keep looking at the various ones they've had every time I walk into the shop, and I've gotten tempted. I really was tempted to think about a Captain America and a few others. There was a Phoenix one that's really, really good. That one keeps selling out, which I can understand why. So when I came in and saw the fresh batch for this week, there were, and I will say, there was a Cap in there that I was considering. There was a really great Iron Man. I saw Daredevil. That was it. Nothing else existed out of, I want to say, the 9 covers that they had. So I'm excited to have that. Hoping one day maybe I can do some kind of meet with Alex, get it autographed, and then probably just CGC this, and that's that. And I'm going to leave that alone. So that is my entire haul. I know I was a bit long-winded for some of this, but you know, it's been about a month just steady with everything with work and a few other things. So, you know, I was really excited to jump in here and share it with you guys. Again, as I've said constantly throughout this video, any of these that you have read, let me know in the comments what you think of them. Whether it's good or bad, we can just have a great friendly discussion. As always, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you guys next time. Later, everyone.